Hello, and welcome to the Fringe Topics channel. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and join us on the exploration of the fringe. During a warm summer day in 1997, an individual ventured deep into the Adirondack Mountains for a solitary hike. As he traversed a secluded and unmarked path, he accidentally stumbled upon a semi-concealed metal box. Curiosity piqued, he dug around it, eventually managing to extract it from the ground. Little did he realize that the contents of this box might unveil one of the most concealed mysteries of the U.S. government. Upon opening the metal box, he was met with a startling find: 21 photographs, 3 film rolls, and several confidential papers. These items hinted at unsettling events that might have transpired in the very region he was exploring. Overwhelmed with fear, he closed the box, took it home, and tried to push it from his mind. However, after his passing on December 21, 2002, the box found its way to his nephew John. John felt compelled to unravel the mystery behind the items his uncle had unearthed in the forest. Driven by this quest, in October of 2005, he began sharing his journey online, updating the world in real time as he uncovered new information. John initiated his online chronicle with a blog post detailing how he inherited the mysterious box. He subsequently uploaded 2 images of the box, promising to digitize its contents and share as much as possible. True to his word, he later uploaded 2 pictures purporting to depict a once operational military base in Indian Lake, New York. He dubbed it the Indian Lake Project Military Base. Documents in John's possession suggested that this was a covert temporary military installation. The installation was operational from 1952 to 1955, concealed within the dense forests of Indian Lake, New York. John later shared 3 distinct photographs, each showcasing a different child. Accompanying each image was a possible assigned name, a number, and an unusual symbol. The captions read Roger, Sam, and Sally, with numbers superimposed on the images. It was evident that these weren't their actual names, but rather designations. Recollecting a past conversation, John remembered his uncle suggesting that Roger, based on his assigned number, might have been one among 837 children at the facility. The situation was growing increasingly suspicious. The images were undeniably abnormal. Given the accumulated information, it was plausible to theorize that these children might have been used as experimental subjects. If the speculation about Roger being one among 837 children held any truth, the scale of this experiment was vast. John chose to extract images from the film rolls, though he refrained from viewing the entire films. He was concerned that the water damage they sustained in the box might cause further deterioration. However, the images he did extract offered glimpses into the activities at the facility. One such image depicted 4 children confined in cages, seemingly being fed. Their presence in cages against their will suggested maltreatment. But the question remained: why were they imprisoned? What kind of experiment required children to be caged? Upon examining another film, John shared more images. At this juncture, he began formulating a hypothesis. John noted that the images displayed children seemingly exposed to high-pitched sounds. He speculated that these sounds might have been used to trigger conditioned reactions or for behavioral conditioning. Interestingly, only the hands of the person controlling the experiment were visible, never their face. The children appeared slightly uneasy, but not overtly distressed. John theorized that the experiments might have been presented to the children as games to gain their trust. Once trust was established, it laid the foundation for the conditioning to commence. John's next update elaborated on his theory. He wrote about Project Artichoke, a CIA initiative that delved into interrogation techniques evolving from Project Bluebird. Initiated in 1951, it delved into methods like hypnosis to induce amnesia in individuals. This project was a collaborative effort involving the intelligence sectors of the Army, Navy, Air Force, and FBI. John thought that the Indian Lake Project was an offshoot of Project Artichoke. A 1952 memo encapsulated the project's intent, questioning if it was possible to manipulate an individual to act against their will even if it meant going against their instinct for self-preservation. By 1953, Project Artichoke transitioned to MKUltra. This transition was highlighted during congressional hearings led by the Church Committee and the Rockefeller Commission. Official CIA records indicate that the agency pondered the use of radiation for mind manipulation under MKUltra. The project also heavily invested in LSD research. Experiments involved administering LSD to CIA staff, soldiers, other governmental agents, sex workers, psychiatric patients, and the general populace, often without their awareness. As Project Artichoke evolved into MKUltra, the significance of the Indian Lake Project diminished and eventually ceased. While numerous documents from these hearings have been declassified, none explicitly mention the involvement of very young children in MKUltra experiments. John speculated that by this time the Indian Lake Project had been concealed both metaphorically and literally. Thus, John's postulation was that the Indian Lake Project might have been an extension of MKUltra's exploration into mind manipulation, particularly concerning children. In his quest for evidence, John ventured to the location where his uncle had unearthed the mysterious container years prior. During this expedition, John stumbled upon remnants of what seemed to be old structures. The purpose or origin of these structures remained a mystery, especially given their isolated location. Could they be the last vestiges of the speculated military base? It appeared John was on the brink of uncovering the truth behind the Indian Lake Project. However, on October 26, 2005, the trajectory of the investigation shifted dramatically. John updated his blog, expressing concern for his safety. He wrote about receiving silent phone calls sometimes as frequent as 20 times daily. To add to the mystery, his home had been invaded and searched, though nothing was stolen. Anticipating such events, John had prudently hidden the box and its contents away from his residence. The mere mention of the documents he possessed seemed to have struck a chord with someone or some entity. John made the difficult decision to halt his postings. He wrote, "It's clear to me that my revelations about the documents have touched a sensitive nerve. I won't be posting any further. My priority is the safety and well-being of my family." While the photos and papers are deeply unsettling, the recent events have been even more harrowing. To those who have been following this journey, I apologize. But I must prioritize my family's safety. I hope those who come across this site will delve into the story from its inception and remain intrigued. For now, I bid you farewell. For several months, there was a lull in updates, and it seemed the investigation into the Indian Lake Project had come to a standstill. However, John wasn't ready to give up. After a hiatus of 8 months, he revisited his blog, revealing that he had undergone a divorce. With this personal change, he felt he could now redirect his full energy to the case. In February 2006, John shared that he had been communicating with a woman who professed to have direct knowledge of the camp. She revealed that her father had been posted at the camp in 1955 and provided his name for verification. John cross-referenced this with his documents and indeed found a mention of the man lending credibility to her statements. She recounted memories of eavesdropping on her parents as they discussed the camp's children. She hinted to John that she possessed information that would astonish him, suggesting that while his theory was on the right track, she had details that could provide more clarity. John continued mentioning that, through his interactions with this woman whom he named Mary, he gained deeper insights into the Indian Lake Project, the children involved, the experiments conducted, and the individuals who were employed there. John shared his growing concerns about the woman he had been communicating with over the past few months. Initially, their collaboration seemed promising. She offered insights based on her father's military ties to the camp, while John provided the documents, photos, and films he had. However, red flags began to appear. She expressed a keen interest in viewing the original documents in person, a request John wisely declined. Furthermore, her eagerness to share personal items from her father struck John as peculiar. As their interactions continued, Inconsistencies in her stories emerged, leading John to question her authenticity and intentions. Despite her possessing verifiable knowledge about the camp, John couldn't shake off the unease about her true source of information. Deciding to trust his instincts, he severed all ties with her, opting to navigate this investigation solo once more. In a subsequent update, John discussed a disconcerting image he stumbled upon online, which he believed could link children, MKUltra, and the Indian Lake Project. He shared the image, clarifying that it wasn't from the metal container he had. The caption accompanying the photo indicated it was from 1961. A typed note in the center of the image described an unidentified young white girl, aged between 8 and 10. It detailed her undergoing 6 months of intense treatments, including high doses of LSD, electroshock, and sensory deprivation, all under the MKUltra code name. The aftermath left her with a wiped memory, her brain resembling that of a newborn. John emphasized that while MKUltra experiments are typically linked with adults, this image and his findings hint at the possibility of children being subjects. This further lends credence to the theory surrounding the Indian Lake Project. John later addressed a query from a blog follower who wondered why, given the government's disclosure on MKUltra, there was no mention of the Indian Lake Project in the declassified documents or testimonies. John responded by expressing his conviction that while the Indian Lake events might align with MKUltra type endeavors, they were distinct in their exclusive focus on children. This raised the question, why the secrecy? Why was it not mentioned during the hearings on the MKUltra program? John theorized that the answer might be unsettlingly straightforward. The operations might still be active. While not necessarily at Indian Lake, the insights gleaned there could be driving a potentially expansive system of brainwashed and mind-controlled agents embedded in our society. He acknowledged the theory's resemblance to plotlines from shows like The X-Files, but reminded readers of the adage, truth can be stranger than fiction, which he felt was apt in this context. John shared images from the last set of film rolls he held. One particular film depicted various scenes from inside and outside the military base associated with the Indian Lake Project. These snapshots revealed facilities that could accommodate numerous children. He also highlighted pictures of a proper bed, contrasting it with the cots shown in the films, hinting at the possibility of distinct areas within the base tailored to different phases of a child's stay. Regrettably, John never delved further into these films, a missed opportunity that could have provided significant insights into the case. However, John did share a video on his blog, though not from the films. This footage, captured by John near Indian Lake, showcased a dilapidated shack he believed was linked to the Indian Lake Project. The video was seen by many as a pivotal piece of evidence, suggesting human activity in this secluded woodland area. The presence of a structure hinted at people possibly residing there, but this revelation paled in comparison to John's subsequent post. John drew a parallel between his discovery and a scene from the TV show Lost. During a November expedition in the woods, he stumbled upon an underground facility, which he theorized was the epicenter of the Indian Lake Project operations. This, he believed, was likely the location where children were sheltered and subjected to MKUltra-like experiments. John had refrained from sharing this discovery, wanting to thoroughly investigate the facility before potentially drawing attention to it. After 4 exploratory visits, he sketched a map detailing the interior layout. While this wasn't the primary entrance, it was the first he had discovered. He promised to share the map and interior photos in subsequent posts, but wanted to give his followers a glimpse of his recent findings. John expressed regret for not revealing this sooner and admitted that descending into this underground space, armed only with a flashlight, was the most terrifying experience of his life. He asserted that he located this entrance using a metal detector and was convinced that this subterranean facility was the site of the alleged experiments. After this, John's demeanor took a somewhat paranoid turn. He asserted that a van tracked his every move and hunters with firearms shadowed him in the woods, even when it wasn't hunting season. At one point, he posted a photograph of a helicopter and claimed it was surveilling him. In early 2013, John shared his last messages on the blog. One expressed gratitude, saying, "Appreciate your engagement, concerns, and warm support over these years." The other indicated a shift to a new platform, stating, "I'll soon start sharing updates on the new Indian Lake Project Twitter handle." However, the anticipated updates never materialized. Only a single tweet was shared and the blog remained dormant. Considering John's accounts of unsettling incidents like break-ins, eerie phone calls, and being trailed, it's plausible to think that something ominous might have befallen him. Was he on the brink of unearthing a significant revelation about the case, only to be silenced prematurely? It's perplexing to think that someone so deeply engrossed in a matter would abruptly cease all communications without a clear cause. Could he genuinely have abandoned his passionate pursuit? The abrupt halt in his communications raises eyebrows. If John's accounts held truth, it's conceivable that he faced threats, compelling him to stop his search, or perhaps he met a more sinister fate. The Indian Lake Project remains shrouded in mystery, a chilling reminder that sometimes the quest for truth may come with unforeseen consequences. Thank you for spending your time with us at the Fringe Topics channel. If you enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It truly makes a difference, and we're deeply grateful. Remember, our content is driven by your suggestions. If there's a topic you're curious about, drop us a hint at fringetopicsforum.com/tips. A special thanks to our patrons who make the channel possible. We could not do it without you. If you would like to support the channel, consider becoming a member of our Patreon. Get access to ad-free videos and exclusive content. Also, keep an eye out for our upcoming Fringe Topics store, featuring unique t-shirts and more. That's all for today. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Farewell.